Do you want to complete the project on time? So you want to complete the project on time within the agreed time frame, right? You want to complete the project within the agreed budget. You want to meet all the requirements of the stakeholders, right? And you want to achieve the satisfaction. So this is what your wish list generally, right? It's not a wish list. Actually, it's called the success criteria of the project. So how can we define the success? We deliver all the scope agreed, complete within the time frame, complete within the budget, and met or exceeded the stakeholder satisfaction. These are the some measurements of we achieve the value creation. This is what they look for. End of the day, we need to achieve the value we creating from each project for the customer needs, right? So how to achieve the success? Okay, you know the success, how to achieve the success. What do you do to achieve the success? If you tell me what you do to achieve the success, the definition of project management comes in. What do you do to achieve the success? Huh? Planning, yes, definitely. You need to carry out the planning. What's the meaning of planning? What are the plans you generally create? Planning for the resources, okay, which includes human resources, material, equipments, and so on. Planning for the budget, okay. So what are you thinking while you are developing the plans? So let's take a budget. The budget given, the client expectation is the project to be completed in 300 million. So what do you do to achieve that? Scheduling the budget in order to divide the budget into month or quarters and so on. Okay, that's part of the budgeting process. Creating the work block structure to understand all the deliverable which we are going to produce in this project. Yes, it's all part of the work, right? Basically, what are you thinking in the planning is, what is your strategy and approach you are going to take in achieving the objectives of the project? That's what you're thinking in your planning. So where you are by thinking in detail, right? Where you are thinking about how are you going to manage the scope, time, cost, quality, resources, communication, and so on, right? So basically, in order to achieve this, what are you utilizing? You are utilizing your knowledge. You are utilizing the various skills. You are utilizing the various tools and techniques to create the plans, right? So project management is nothing but application of your knowledge, skills, tools and techniques to the project activities in order to meet the stakeholders' requirement or project requirement. Very simple definition. It is the application of your knowledge, skills, tools and techniques to the project activities in order to meet the stakeholders' requirements. So you understand what is project management. But generally, how the project management is accomplished? I can say the project management is accomplished through the application and integration of the processes called initiation, planning, executing, monitoring and controlling, and closing, which covers the entire life cycle of the project from initiation until closure. So your management efforts should be from initiation until you deliver to the stakeholders that we have achieved the deliverable successfully according to your requirement. We need to manage. So that covers our entire aspect. But in order to do that, we need to be equipped with our 10 areas of knowledge: scope management, time management, cost management, quality management, resources management, communications management, risk management, procurement management, stakeholder engagement, and most importantly, integration of all the efforts, which is called integration management. So you need to be equipped with 10 knowledge areas, from scope integration all the way down to the stakeholder engagement. So the entire project management compassed within this area, whatever the way we talk about all for these efforts in managing the project efficiently in order to achieve the objectives of the project. Now let's talk about initiation. What is my initiation? Initiation, planning, execution, monitoring, control, and closure, right? So what is initiation? How many of you have experience in the initiation of the project? Most of you, I know that you have a difficulty in this area because most of you entering into the project only during the execution stage, or some of you entering in the planning stage. Before that, initiation work is happening. What is initiation? Let me give you an example. For example, one of the customer coming to me. Hello, Ravi, I want to develop a commercial office tower. I want to develop a 40-story commercial office tower. I said, good idea, sir. There are a lot of market requirements currently. Good idea. Tell me, sir, what do you want to do in this project? What kind of information do you think they can give me? They just got the idea they want to develop a 40-story commercial office tower. That's all they have. They may have done some feasibility study analysis to understand the market conditions and so on. They have done. And also they have some budget planning in their mind, how much they're ready to spend for this project, right? What kind of information they can give me? He may tell me, I have a land area of 20,000 square meters. I want to construct a building for 15,000 square meters. I want each floor 10 to 15 offices, between 1,000 to 1,500 square meters for each office. I want my building to be designed with the latest or unique architectural intent. I want my building to be designed with the latest fire protection and security systems. I want to have an ample car parking space. So you may need to go for multiple underground basement parking, as this area is congested area. Even I am ready to spend separate overground car park area as well. I'm ready to spend 500 million for this project. But I want my project to be completed in 3 years. I ask him, why you want to be completing in 3 years? It's a tough task. No, we studied the market condition. The market is going to be in good condition for next 4 years. So we want to use this chance. If we complete the project in 3 years, we'll have one good year market period to sell off the unit or rent off the unit. They did their analysis, right? And already many companies are asking multiple floor in our development. We already have created the interest with them. Many companies are showing interest in taking multiple floors from us in this development. They also given certain requirements, which also need to be considered while we are developing the project. This kind of information only they can tell you. So basically what we are trying to do is we are trying to define the project at high level. It is not so detailed information like this. It gives you the objectives of the project. What are the high-level requirements of the key stakeholders? What are the key deliverables expected in this project? What is the timeline expectations of the stakeholders? What is the budget they're ready to allocate for this project? What are the assumptions and constraints they consider while initiating this project? What are the risks they could see in doing this kind of project? Whatever they know at that stage, they are also documenting. They are also documenting who are the key stakeholders of this project, how they will involve in the project, what kind of influence they may exert on the project, and who is the project manager for this project, what is his level of authority. All these key informations are defined within the initiation document, which is called project charter. What is that called? Project charter. In our industry in Qatar, we call it as project brief. Project charter, 𝗙𝗂𝗋𝗄𝗎, charter. Yeah, which is the universal project management terminology. When you say project charter, everybody knows it's an initiation document to authorize the project existence, basically. So basically, finally, the sponsor and key stakeholders are signing to give their commitment for executing this project. This is what we are doing in the initiation, so that all the key stakeholders clearly understand what is this project about, what are the objectives of the project, what they want to achieve. Sometimes this project is being done for improving the company image or improving the profit or capturing the current market conditions. There could be many reasons. All are being defined within the initiation document, and we are getting their commitment by signing up the project charter. This is what the initiation. Generally, if you are working with the project management consultant or design consultants, you may have a chance of involve yourself in the initiation. Otherwise, most of the time you are entering into the project during the planning stage or in the execution stage only. Right? Clear? The next is planning. Next, we move to the plan. As I said, the planning is nothing but defining your strategy and approach which you are going to use in managing this project. Where you are thinking in detail, how are you going to manage the scope, time, cost, quality, and so on. And you are creating a lot of plans. You are creating like scope management plan, schedule management plan, cost management plan, quality management plan, resource management plan, communications management plan, risk management plan, procurement management plan, stakeholder engagement plan, process improvement plan, requirement management plan, change management plan. And you also need to define life cycle strategy or life cycle approach, selection of appropriate life cycle approach. What is the life cycle approach? For example, some of the project could be managed using the predictive approach, meaning everything can be determined during the planning stage, finalized, and then we follow the plan and execute the work. Some of the project we cannot do that. Some of the project require incremental development, which is agile approach. Some of the project could be done using both approach combined together. Some of the items can be done using the predictive approach. Some of the items can be done using the agile approach. So we can combine them, which is called hybrid approach. So you need to determine during the planning stage what is the best approach by understanding the nature, size, and complexity of the project itself. This is all part of our work in the planning part. And then apart from that, while you are developing the plans, do you think all the plans can get finalized in a single revision? No. For example, you are definitely developing a schedule, right? You may come up with a revision 0 schedule. Then you present to the stakeholders. They review and give you the feedback. Then you will revise it. You revise it to revision 1. Then again you are presenting to them. They review and give you the feedback. You may go multiple revisions like this, right? So when you reach to revision 4, all the stakeholders agreed, yeah, this schedule revision is perfect. It considers all constraints. It is well built up. It is workable. It is achievable. It is realistic. Then that particular revision become baseline. Right? Do you get the terminology baseline? Baseline means it's a final plan. Generally 4 baselines used in the project. Scope baseline, schedule baseline, cost baseline, and performance measurement baseline. These are the 4 baselines generally used in the project, which means which is the final plan. So while you are going through the planning work, you are finalizing the final plans. And then you compile together and call it as project management plan. The final output of the planning work is project management plan. What is project management plan? It's nothing but compilation of all our plans, all our management plans, scope management plan, schedule management plan, cost management plan, quality management plan, resource management, communication management plan, risk management plan, procurement management plan, stakeholder engagement plan, change management plan, requirement management plan, process improvement plan. All these are defines our strategy and approach, how we are going to manage each area of the project or various objectives of the project. And then we are collecting all our final plans, scope baseline, schedule baseline, cost baseline, performance measurement baseline, risk register. There are many other planning documents. All are being collected and called as project management. That is our final output, which is our comprehensive plan of action in managing the project. So we have a comprehensive plan of action in our hand. But remember, when we are talking about planning work, we are not only thinking about how do I execute. So the first part of the planning itself, how are you going to plan? How are you going to execute? How are you going to measure your performance during execution? When there are variances from the plan, how will you deal with it? When the variances are minor in nature, what will you do? When the variances are major in nature, what will you do? How will you close the project? All has to be thought of as part of the planning work. So in the planning, which have a very great contribution in the overall management efforts. Of course, the biggest effort taking care or taking in the execution efforts. Even though we have a good plans, our efforts are, because we are spending resources and time and cost during the execution, most of the work happening during execution. But about 24 processes is in the planning itself. Out of 49 processes you are going to learn, 29 processes is in the 24 processes in the planning itself. So is it clear? This is what the planning is. So that means by end of the planning, we have a project management plan in our hand, which is our basis for managing our execution and monitoring control efforts. Right? Now let's move to the execution. What is execution? Execute the plans. Right? So meaning implementing our plans. So the execution is nothing but implementation of our plans. But it's an easy job. We have nice plans in our hand. So it should be easy, right? No. It is the hardest effort. There are a lot of efforts. Okay. You, as a project manager, you and your team, exerting a lot of efforts and taking multiple actions to make sure the execution is happening according to the plan. Thereby, we will be able to achieve the product or deliverable as expected by the stakeholders. So what is the result of the execution? What do you get in the execution? You are getting the product or getting the deliverables. That's the result of the execution, right? So here, during the execution, you are making sure all the agreed scope is being delivered. The resources are deployed according to the plan. Procurement is happening according to the plan, because you are not going to have every facility resources required for the project in your hand. You are going to depend on the various companies or sellers who is having resources, capability, experience, and expertise. So we are going to depend on sellers. So we need to make sure the sellers are appointed on time and they are mobilizing the resources according to our plan. And we need to monitor whether they are executing the work according to the plan. All these things, we have a lot of effort during this. And then we also need to make sure the stakeholders are being properly engaged while you are carrying out the work. All are part of our efforts during the execution. So the result of the execution is we are producing the deliverables. While you are doing the execution, in parallel, there is another action happening, which is monitoring and control. Monitoring and control. While you are executing the work, you need to periodically measure your performance. What performance you need to measure? You need to measure your scope performance, schedule performance, cost performance, quality performance, resources utilization performance, communication performance, risk management performance, procurement performance, sellers performance, and then stakeholder engagement performance. All has to be measured. So basically, what are you measuring? You are measuring your current performance. You are going to compare with what? Compare with your plans, which is basically baselines in terms of scope, time, cost. Compare with your plan. Why you are comparing with the plan? To see whether we are executing the work according to the plan. If you are executing the work according to the plan, no problems. But if you are not executing the work according to the plan, there are deviations from the plan. What is that called? Called as variances. They are called as variances. So we need to understand, is there any variances from the plans? If there are variances, we need to understand whether it is a positive variance or negative variance. Positive variance means you are doing good, you are doing better than the plans. But if negative variance means You are not doing according to the plan. So we need to, what do you do in this case? You are facing a negative variance. What do you do? Leave it like that. For example, you are monitoring the schedule. What do you do? Assuming you are monitoring the schedule every month. By end of the month, you will update the schedule, right? How you do update? You will update the actual start date, actual end date, actual resources applied, actual productivity rate, actual cost you spent, all are being updated. When you run the program, it will show you whether you are on schedule, behind schedule, or ahead of schedule. When you are on schedule, no problem. When you are ahead of schedule, no problem. You are doing better than the plan. But when you are behind schedule, we must understand how much you are behind schedule. It could be 10 days delay, or it could be 1 month delay. So if it is 10-day delay, what will you do? If it is 1 month delay, what will you do? Will you take same action for these 2 delays? 10-day delay considers a minor delay. 1 month delay is considered a major delay. So depending on the magnitude of variance from the plan, you are coming up with the necessary corrective action to improve the performance. That's called monitoring and control. So you are measuring your actual performance, comparing with your plan, determining the magnitude of variance. Accordingly, you are coming up with a necessary corrective action to improve the performance of the various areas of the project. It could be scope performance, schedule performance, cost performance, quality performance, or it could be overall performance of the project. That's all being done through the monitoring and control. Say, for example, you are having 10 days delay. How can we recover this 10-day delay? Do you think all our activities are critical activities? Some of the activities could be non-critical activities. So what we can do in order to recover this delay? We can delay the non-critical activities, pull the resources from there, put it into the delayed area. We can recover the delay. Possible or not? In this case, you are managing within the plans. You are managing within the plans in order to manage the variances you are facing currently. If that is the case, you have full authority to do it. Okay? But the delay is 30 days. So how will you recover this delay? Will you apply the same action here for this 30-day delay? May not be possible. In order to recover this delay, we may need to change the methodology. We may need to change the technology. We may need to add more resources or more experienced resources. Right? So in this case, what will happen? You need to change the plans in order to recover this 30 days delay. So it is different action than our minor delays. So that's why I told you that depending on the magnitude of variances, we are coming up with a necessary corrective action by understanding the reason behind these delays, and then we are taking action. That's called monitoring and control. The second part of the monitoring control is, for example, while you are executing the work, you are always monitoring the execution work to see whether the execution is happening according to the plan. For example, one of the package ongoing currently, there is a seller responsible for executing that package. When you monitor, you find out the seller has deployed only 30 resources, whereas our plan is 50 resources. That too, we deployed resources less skilled than what we planned. In this case, are you going to keep quiet? If you keep quiet, what will happen? The seller will not be able to finish the work according to our plan. So he is going to create a trouble for us. So what we need to do? We need to take a control action on the seller to make sure he is deploying the resources according to the plan. It's all part of our effort during the monitoring and control. Clear? Then finally we reach to the closer. What do you mean by closer? Plus, we don't like this project anymore. We got enough salary. Let us close it, right? What do you mean by closer? To deliver the product to the stakeholders. What we told the stakeholders by end of the planning, by showing the project management plan, what are we trying to tell them? This is our comprehensive action plan for executing this project and achieving your deliverables as you require. This is our strategy, right? We told them. We will be able to achieve your deliverable as you require. Now, when you come to the close-up, we need to demonstrate that we have achieved your deliverables according to your requirements. How you do that? Normally, when you are doing execution, you are producing the deliverable, right? When you are producing the deliverable, what do you do generally after that? After you complete the deliverable, what do you do? Or during the production of the deliverable itself, you have actions to do, which is part of the monitoring control. As a project team, we need to check, right? We need to check whether the deliverable is being produced or completed according to the stakeholders' requirements. That we need to do as a project team. Where we do this exercise? What's the process called? Quality control. Correct? The quality control, what are you doing? You are checking the deliverable whether it is completed correctly according to the stakeholders' requirement. That's all you are checking. When they are doing this check, they may say okay. They may say not okay. When they say okay, what does that mean? That means through the verification, they are confirming, yes, this deliverable has been completed correctly according to the stakeholders' requirement. That's what they confirm. Right? When they say not okay, what does that mean? That means the deliverable which we have completed does not meet all the requirements of the stakeholder. There are non-conformities or the defects they have identified. So what do you do now? You need to come up with a necessary corrective action for rectifying this defect, by understanding the reason behind this defect. Right? So you will come up with a rectification action, get the stakeholders discussed and agreed, and then you go and rectify. Then again you go through the verification exercise, and then they will say okay. When they say okay, these deliverables are called as verified deliverables. What they are called as? Verified deliverables. That means our team verified and confirmed these deliverables have been completed correctly according to the stakeholders' requirements. So when they say okay, we should be happy, right? Because we met the requirements of the stakeholders. So what do we do with this deliverable? When it's not okay, you are going for a defect rectification action. But when it's okay, what will you do? First, we put it in our pocket, go home and sleep, right? What do you do? What we need to do next? We need to call the stakeholders who have provided you the requirements related to this deliverable, right? So when you call them to come for verification, what they will do? They will come and look at the deliverable. Okay, nice looking, nice color, nice shape. I like it. Fantastic. Okay, see you. Bye-bye. This is what they do? No. They will come and measure, examine, test. They will go through all the requirements they given to you during the planning, right? They will ask you quality assurance report, quality control report, test report, and they go through. They also see whether it is completed within the scope baseline, schedule baseline, cost baseline, quality standards, and so on, right? And then finally what they will say? Yes, it is acceptable. What they give you? They give you sign off, which is called acceptance of the completed deliverables. That is our proof to say in the closure, we have completed the project's deliverable successfully. So basically in the closure, what are we trying to demonstrate? We have achieved the objectives of the project. We have completed all the deliverables successfully according to the stakeholders' requirement. What is your proof? Your standard documentation is a proof for that. And then you are handing over the deliverable for their operation. When it comes to the closure, we can divide the closure into two types. One is administrative closure Other one is the contract and budget closer. Why we divide this? As part of the closer, but we are dividing based on the actions. In the administrative closer, we need to show all our documents to prove that we have completed the deliverable successfully and it has been accepted by the stakeholders. We need to archive all our project documents in a proper order with the proper index and hand over to them. We also need to provide the as-built drawings, right? And what? Warranties, guarantees, maintenance manuals, right? Test reports, compilation, all these part of the work, right? And also we need to conduct the training for the end users. Why we need to conduct training for them? We created the product. We understand the deliverable very well. They are going to use this deliverable in their business operation. So we need to train them so that they can understand the deliverable very well. They can use it in the business operation successfully, right? So we are conducting the training. All these actions are called administrative closure. When it comes to the contract closure, we have appointed a lot of sellers to support us in achieving the objectives of the product. Why are you appointing the sellers? Are you happy to appoint the sellers? Because a lot of people available. Okay, let's appoint them. Well, what's the purpose? You are appointing them. Why you are appointing the sellers? Do we have all the resources, materials, equipments, human resources, expertise required, all are available in a single company or within your company? No. You may have some resources, you may have some expertise, right? But most of the items you are getting from others. So whatever we are getting outside our organization, that comes under the procurement. So we are appointing them to support us in achieving the objective of the project because they have the resources, experience, expertise in carrying out such a nature of work. So we appointed them. While we are appointing them, we are making contract. Right? What is contract? Agreement between the two parties. Contract, some are calling us contract, some are calling us agreement, some are calling us MOU, all are different. Service level agreement, there are different terminologies being used, but all are same. It is a legal binding between the seller and buyer, defining the rules of engagement for carrying out the project work. That's all. So in the contract, we are stipulating a lot of contractual obligations and conditions, right? Why you are stipulating all these obligations and conditions? To make sure seller will be able to fulfill this obligation, which will help us in achieving the objectives of the project. But when it comes to the obligations, both parties are having obligations, not only the seller. Buyer is having obligations, there are seller obligations. What is the seller obligation? He need to complete the deliverables according to the buyer requirement. That is his obligation. What is the buyer obligation? He need to compensate the seller. Right? So while you are executing the work, you are also monitoring the contracts. It's part of our procurement management. We need to see whether the seller executing the work according to the plans, whether he is following the executing the work according to the scope baseline, schedule baseline, cost baseline, whether he is following the quality standards as we design, and so on. If you see them, their performance not matches with the plans, you need to take necessary control action to improve the seller performance. Also, we monitor the contract, whether both parties of the contract are working towards meeting these contractual obligations and conditions. We are monitoring. Say, for example, one of the mechanisms you use, your invoice. According to the plan, seller supposed to submit 20 million of invoice until now. But look at his actual invoice submission, he has submitted only 10 million of invoice. What does that mean? What that means? That means he is not fulfilling our requirement. his performance not matching with our plan. So can you leave it like this? So you will take control action on the seller to make sure his performance is improved. The other way also can happen. Seller submitted 20 million of invoice. Buyer paid him only 5 million. So in this case, buyer is not fulfilling his obligation. So we need to take control action on the buyer to make sure he is compensating the seller so that the project work will happen according to the plan. It's all part of our efforts during the monitoring control. Finally, when come to the closer, we need to close each contract formally. What am I close contract formally? We need to go through the key contractual conditions in the contract document, see whether they have fulfilled those conditions, and then we close the contract. Meaning, we are demonstrating through the contract closure, there is no further legal binding between the buyer and seller. That's what we are demonstrating through the contract closure. Assuming you are not performing contract closure, what will happen? What will happen? After 6 months, buyer is suing the seller. Oh, you are not performed these obligations. I'm suing you for 20 million. Do you think seller is going to keep quiet? And he will sue him for up to 40 million. Oh, you are not performed these obligations. So they are going to enter into a unnecessary legal battle. Whereas we have every information in our hand as it happened throughout the project life cycle to verify both parties of the contract have fulfilled their obligation or not. That's why it is part of the contract closure. And we need to perform that. And also we need to make sure the sellers are paid. All the outstanding fees, charges are paid, retention are released, performance bond release, all we need to make sure, right? It's all part of our contract closure. Generally, what is happening in the construction industry? How it is happening, the closure? When you complete the project, when you hand over the deliverables, what are you getting? You are getting a substantial completion certificate. What is called as substantial completion certificate, which demonstrates that both parties of the contract have fulfilled their obligations. Whatever the obligation agreed within the project life cycle has been fulfilled. That's all it means. But there are still obligations to be fulfilled during the defect liability period of generally 400 days maintenance period. Right? There are certain obligations to be fulfilled. If you complete that period, when you complete all those obligations, finally we are issuing the final completion certificate. Some industry they called a discharge certificate, some industry called as maintenance certificate. During that exercise, we are making sure all the retention payments are released, or performance bond returned, all outstanding claims are resolved and settled. All these are make sure, and then finally we issuing the final completion certificate. This is the way it happens. Maybe other industry slightly they differ, but most of the time this is the concept. Some industries they don't have the maintenance period, then they have to close at the handing over period. This is the way it is happening. This is what we are going to learn, how we are going to manage. So what is the way we are going to take you through the learning process? The first 2 classes, you will talk about the project management foundations. Understanding what is project management, what are all the various organization structure in the industry, what are the various types of project life cycle, what are the different methodologies and approaches available for managing the project. That kind of general information we must capture first. And then we go into 3 classes. I will come in. After you 2 classes, Mr. Manohar covers these areas, and then I will come in. I will take you through the entire work at high-level discussion, which is, I call it as overview of the PM processes. Where I want to talk to you like this, what I am talking to you, I am going to talk to you like this with one shot. To make sure you understand everything as a whole, how it is happening, what is the interaction required between the various actions we are performing in the project. I will talk about processes in initiation, processes in planning, processes in execution at a high level. What is this process about? What are we doing in this process? What is the result of this process? How is this result being utilized by the other processes? Meaning, what is the interaction required with the other processes? It's not that every process, they do the work and keep the result themselves. No. It has to be utilized by the other processes in order to achieve the project results. So I'm going to take you about 9 hours. This discussion will happen, which clears your mind. This is what we are doing. No problem. So easy to learn. And then Mr. Manogar will continue in detail, talk about integration, scope, time, cost, budget, resources, and so on in detail, including agile methodologies. Then finally, I will come in on the last class. I will give you the tips on the preparation strategy. And then I will also train you on the application process, which is a simple application process. I will train you on the application process. So as soon as you finish the class, we got the course completion certificate, you can start registering it. Once you register, submit the application, they will give you the approval in 5 working days. Once you will receive the email saying that your application is approved, you can proceed to the making the exam payment. They will send you the mail. Or sometimes they will send you the mail immediately. Your application is selected for the audit process. It is a computer random selection. Generally, about 2% of applicants is selected for the audit. In the audit, they will ask you the copy of the degree certificate, copy of the training certificate. They will ask you the reference from some of the projects, referring your manager or your colleague who worked with you in that project. They will ask you. You provide this detail. It's all within your PMI account. You have to create a PMI account and submit there in your account. And then you submit them, then they give you the approval. This is the process they set up. Generally, what is the examination fee? Examination fee, $405 as a member. If you are a non-member, you have to pay $555. Membership will cost you $139 as a first-time membership. It's an annual membership. Every year we need to renew by paying $129. The membership in PMI is more than 500,000, 600,000 professionals out there. So it is a pride for us to be a member in a largest professional body. Okay? Apart from that, there is a benefit for you. When your application is approved, they will be giving you 1 year period as an eligibility period. From the date of approval, they give you 1 year period as eligibility period. Within this 1 year period, you can try 3 attempts to achieve the certification. So you will be given 3 attempts within that 1 year period to achieve pass the exam, basically, to pass the exam and achieve the credential. First time, when you apply, you have to pay $405 exam fee, $139 membership. If you are non-member also, you can take exam, but you have to pay $555. You may not see the difference in the first time, but second time, when you are want to apply for the exam, second attempt, if you are a member, you pay only $265. If you are non-member, you have to pay again $555. Third attempt also same. Okay. Generally, it doesn't require that much attempts, maximum 2 attempts. We can clear it. Suppose you are not able to clear it within the 3 attempts given, and then they will ask you to break this method preparation for 1 year. Meaning not preparation, break this. They give you a break of 1 year. You need to be prepared well. And then after 1 year break, you need to apply again. And then they give you the approval. This is the process they set up. Okay. But what is the advantage you have when you are a member? All the standards developed by PMI is free for you. You can download all the standards. They have developed about 8 standards. They have standard on project management, the standard on portfolio management, program management, WBS, many standards they have developed. All the standards are free for you. You can download. You can only open that digital copy using your PMI username and password. It is a individual copy. Okay, it's a digital protection. So all standards are free for it, including the current standard 7th edition. You can able, if you are a member, you can able to download. Okay, so you need to learn based on the current exam pattern. You need to be good in 3 domains: people management, process management, and business environment. These are the 3 domains they put the questions. In the people management, 48%, process management, 50% questions, 2% of questions from business environment. Understanding the regulation compliances, understanding the customers' needs and what is their objectives and so on, that kind of management, and the business environment. This is the current pattern. So our material covers you the topics we structure, understanding the PM foundations, and then it take you through the people management, and then processes, and then finally business environment. Then also you need to understand what are the other agile methodologies available. They are also asking more questions from the agile. So there is agile methodologies we need to learn. This is what we are covering through that. So we assume we are confident that by end of the course, you are considered an expert in project management. You know everything, what to do, how to do. You know the every processes, methodologies, results, what you are going to get. Then you can able to answer any type of question they are asking you in the exam. The examination is going to be 4 hours. You will be given 180 questions. You will be given 180 questions. Out of 185 questions are called test questions or pre-test questions. Each test of a set of question paper, they add 5 new questions to see how the industry people are responding, and then they validate the question, and then they add into the database. That's what the procedure. But you will be evaluated for 175 questions. You don't know where these 5 questions are. So you need to answer 180 questions. Most of the questions are situational questions. Because there's no direct, what is project management, what is that? Very rare. Sometimes they are giving fill up for dash questions. Sometimes they put 2 columns asking you to match. That kind of questions also they are trying now. But most of the questions are descriptive, situation, and 4 options of actions given to you. You must choose the best action you could take in this situation. What they are trying to test you, they want to test you whether you are capable of managing the entire life cycle of the project from initiation until closing, by covering all the key skills essential for management of the project. That's what they are trying to test you. Once you finish 180 questions, once you submit, you may get score report. Or sometimes they may send you, we need time for you to review and give you the report. So they may take 1 week now. Now they are changing the system slightly. They want to take 1 week review and then give you the final result. But when the system is a psychometric analysis, the way you answer itself, they can able to assess you whether you are capable of managing entire life cycle of the project based on the answers you are given for each questions. That's what they want to see. They want you to be an expert who can able to handle the entire life cycle of the project efficiently. That's what they want. Whether you can handle team properly, whether you can able to manage the stakeholders, engage the stakeholders properly, whether you are able to apply different methodologies available in managing the project. That's what they are trying to test you in using the 3 domains. Previously, the domain was initiation, planning, execution, monitoring, control. Recently, they changed it, they combined into 3 domains: people, process, and business environment. Whatever they ask, finally, the principle is we want to test you whether you are capable of managing the entire life cycle of the project. That's the principle. Okay. So Examinations, I cannot say it is easy. I can say it is hard. But it's not tough. It is hard. Why? Sometimes the situation they talk about time problem, cost problem, quality problem, three problems together, they put up the 4 actions. You may have a lot of actions in your mind, which doesn't help. Among the available 4 options of actions, which is the best action you could take in this situation? That's what you need to practice. That's why in our LMS system, we have given you all the study material, we have given you all the presentations, we have given you 6th edition, 7th edition, and then there are 3 textbooks are there. One of the textbook is the 𝗙𝗂𝗧𝗏. That is one of the commonly used textbook, because this textbook is written for PMP exam preparation purpose. Whereas other textbooks are project management textbooks. Okay. So most of them using this textbook for preparation. She explains in a way, putting the examples from the industry, and then he is relating you, oh, this is the way you need to handle. These are the key points you must remember. These are the key tricks you must remember while you are handling the various situations she is explaining. So which will help you in streamlining your thinking in terms of management of the projects. Okay, so that is one of the good books. So you have mock test, all the possible questions. Okay, cloned questions. These are cloned questions, not the actual questions. Similar type of questions. We have a lot of mock test. Initially, I set up the mock test with 180 questions for each, same as exam. Then nobody was finishing 180 questions. Nobody is spending time in taking and finishing the 180 questions. Then what I did, I break down into 60, 60, 60 first. Couple of tests, I did that first. Part 1, you can see test 1, part 1, part 2, part 3. I break down into 3 tests. Once they start practicing, then they go into full exam. So then they got the interest, so then going into full exam. Anyway, now one of the challenge was in the examination is we need to sit in a place for 4 hours in the exam, which is a challenge for us, right? Because we never sit in a place for 4 hours. We always keep moving, especially people from the construction industry, we always keep moving. Now that challenge is broken. Now they divide the test into 3 parts. First, they give you the 60 questions, you answer and submit, and then give you a mandatory 10 minutes break, and they give you the next set of 60 questions. You finish and submit, and then they give you another 10 minutes break, and then final 60. This is the way now they set up. So that challenge is clear. You can have a break in between, 2 breaks. Okay, this is a challenge. So what you need to do is you need to read through. So the most important is nothing to memorize. You just need to understand the principles, tools and techniques, methodologies available for you. And then once you understand the various interactions happening between the various processes, you will be able to easily choose the best answer, which is the right action you could take on that situation. That's what they want. That's what they want you to practice. Why? They're testing you in this manner. You as a project manager, you have the responsibility to achieve the objective. You are responsible for accomplishing the objectives of the project. You are a decision maker, right? Suppose you take wrong decision, what will happen? The project will drag in a wrong direction. It is very hard to bring back unless you make a total change again. You have to change all the plans again. That's why we want the project managers to be proactive, analyze and understand the situation, look at the various options of actions available in our hand, and then which is the best action we could take in this situation, which will help us in resolving the problem or improving the performance and so on. That's what we want you to practice. That's what they're trying to test. So if you think logically, if you understand the situation well, if you think logically, you will be able to choose the best action. That's what we need to practice, nothing else. So there is no memorization at all required for you. Okay. So you need to have a good interaction flowing in your mind. When I give you overview, you will feel whatever the way I talk, the same kind of flow you must have in your mind by end of the course. That means you are ready for exam. Of course, whatever I talk, it will not stay in your mind immediately. We need to review through, read through the materials, and then we need to practice the test. A lot of actions we need to do. So we need to put a dedicated effort in completing the preparation within the maximum of 2 months from the date of completion of the training. Which I am saying why? Because during the training, you have alternate day classes are there. You're also busy in the projects. So you may not have a chance of preparing along with the training. So generally, most of them prepare after the training completion. They spend some time to read through, practice, and then they book for the exam. That's why, based on that experience, I'm telling you need to take the exam within the maximum of 2 months from the completion of the training by putting a dedicated effort. At least two hours per day, you should be able to review through the materials. But if you are preparing along with our training, suppose we finish certain topic today. Before you come to the next class, you just browse through what we have discussed before in the last class. It will help you in capturing the discussions in the next classes. So it will increase your understanding and flow in your mind. That's what we need, nothing else. How much you read, how much you keep reading and practicing, that will improve your flow of actions in your mind. Then you will become expert. You can able to handle any kind of situation they ask you in the exam. Okay, this is good enough for the day. If you have any doubts, I can clarify. Online participants? There is no passing grade. The grade is assessed based on the psychometric analysis, based on the answers you given for each question. Generally, I can say 70 to 75% you must achieve to pass the exam. But you should not skip any questions. You must answer all 80 questions. That will increase your chance. And also, we cannot say this kind of examination. We cannot say, okay, let us try our luck. Okay, I'm not much prepared. Let me go and try. No, it doesn't work. You should go there as expert before the exam. They treat you as expert in the exam. Basically. Any other doubt? Yes.
Time location is
The 4 hours they are dividing into 3.
in case the time is at 20.
Suppose they are giving you first 60. You are taking more time and you are not able to finish the questions. You have no chance. Sometimes what they are saying, you are not submitting, you are keeping it, and then they give you the break. And then in the second 60, see whether you can able to cover it.